My name is Earl Willis Jr. Today is November the 21st, 2017, and we're in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And today we're talking to Alonzo Webb, and we're at the Bob Kirby Library. Mr. Webb, I want to ask you a few questions, just kind of starting off basic questions. Where and when were you born?
I was born in Glasgow, Kentucky,
Okay.
November the 19th, 1947.
Okay, so you just had a birthday, right?
Just had a birthday.
Okay. Did you have any parents or siblings or any kind of family that were in the military?
Yeah, I had some cousins that was in the military. I had a first cousin that was in the military. I had a brother that was in the military. Joe
Okay.
Billy Webb, he was in the military. I had a sister that served in the military,
Okay.
in the Army WAC Corps.
You think it influenced you any thinking about being in the military? Did you think about the military at all when you were younger? Or
No, I really didn't. I don't think it had any influence on me.
okay,
No, I don't think so at all.
okay. What were you doing before you entered the service?
What I was doing in the service, I went to college. I went to Hiawassee College down in Madisonville, Tennessee. I went down there 2 years. And, back then in '66, you had to sign deferments.
Okay.
And I came home and I stayed down there 2 years. And I came home and worked for Western Kentucky Gas. That's when I got drafted.
Okay.
I didn't get back in school in the fall.
Okay. So the Vietnam War was going on.
The
correct?
Vietnam conflict was in. Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, what state were you born in Kentucky?
I was born in Kentucky.
Glasgow. Okay. Did you have any? What were your connections in Tennessee? Did you have any family in Tennessee, or that?
I really didn't have family. I got a basketball scholarship out of Glasgow High School.
Okay.
And I attended Hiawassee College down there. It was
Okay.
a junior college at that time. It was a 4-year school now, but at the time it was a junior college, and I played basketball down there on scholarship for 2 years, from 1966 to 1968.
Okay, so you were going to college there.
Yeah, on a
Okay.
basketball scholarship.
Okay. So you already said that you're drafted, correct?
I was drafted.
Okay. Do you remember? Did you get the notice in the mail?
In the mail.
In the mail.
Back then, you had to fill out Army questionnaires that you got periodically, and I can remember when I got my draft notice. I think it came in on a Friday, and it said that I had been selected to the military service by letter.
Okay.
For the draft board.
What was your thoughts? How did you feel about that?
At that time, I was a little disappointed.
Okay.
I was a little frightened, I would say, doing with the Vietnam conflict, going into the military at that time. I didn't have any really desire at that time to go in the military, so being drafted. So it was kind of a frightening experience at that when I got my draft notice.
Yeah. So because you wanted to finish your schooling up.
Well, I was working, I had a good job at Western Kentucky Gas, and I had planned on going back to school.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't get in that fall, but I had planned on going back
Okay.
to finish my education.
Okay. So you said, when did you say you were? You got your letter in the mail? You remember what date? Well,
I can't remember, but it was.
Was it hot or cold or?
It was more like. I think it was like in. It was kind of like in the wintertime. I think it was. It's in probably the latter part of '68. I would say maybe in like the fall or winter month.
Okay.
And then I had to go into service in February of '69.
Okay.
So
Maybe
I'd say
like November, December.
probably November, December, somewhere in that era.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were your parents alive then?
No, my parents had deceased
Okay.
back when I was at a younger age, and I was living with my guardian mother
Okay.
in Glasgow, Kentucky.
What was her reaction?
Well, she was saddened by it, and then she was a prayerful Christian woman. So
Yeah.
she definitely was praying about that and was concerned.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
It was probably something on, I guess everybody of that age, you're probably like 21 or 20 years old.
At that time, I was around about 21, I guess, coming out of college.
So yes, that was probably on your, a lot of people's minds at that age, being drafted.
Drafted, going to Vietnam, you know, that was, that's the first thing coming to mind,
Yeah.
especially, you know, at wartime.
Do you remember being, I always like to ask, do you remember being sworn into the Army?
Yes.
Taking the oath off?
Yeah,
Well, where was that at? Do you remember where that was at?
There's Louisville, Kentucky. We went up to the induction center in Louisville, Kentucky is where I was sworn in at.
Okay. You remember how you got there?
By bus.
The bus?
I think we went to the draft board there in Glasgow, Kentucky, and I think it was by Greyhound. There were several guys from Glasgow and the surrounding area that we all got on the bus, and it took us up to Louisville, in the induction center there.
Okay. So when you took the oath, did you, was it, I guess it was pretty real then what you were getting?
It was pretty real. You know, after you get the draft notice, you go in, the physical,
Yeah.
and then you go in and like a formation type, and you was asked to step forward, raise your right hand, and you sworn into the military.
Yeah. Did you feel kind of proud when you did that, when you doing your service?
Well, I guess at the time, I don't know, probably mixed emotion,
Mixed
you know.
emotions, yeah.
I don't know if I was saying I was that proud, you know,
Yeah.
with Vietnam, you know,
Yeah.
possibility,
Yeah.
and, you know, not getting back in college, so I can't say it was a proud moment. It was just, it's an obligation.
Yeah.
You have to sign those deferments. You know, when I was in college, I knew I had to go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess, I mean, on some hand, there were some people that got the draft notice and didn't go. And so you went. So you must have felt some obligation to serve in your country.
Oh, yes. It was, I didn't run off to Canada, you know, try to come up with some type of, being a draft dodger, a conscientious objector,
Yeah.
or anything like that. So, you know, just went on in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you were enlisted, so you said you didn't pick you were drafted in the Army.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember when you left for basic training
Yes. In February
in February?
'69,
Okay.
we went to the induction center, and we went the buses down to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay.
That's where I took my basic training.
Well, so you probably were on a bus,
Bus,
right?
yes.
How did you feel when you were riding there? Was it pretty quiet?
It was kind of quiet with all the guys.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of, the bus was full, and it was a lot of soldiers, we was going in the Army. And I guess it was kind of frightening because, I guess it was a frightening experience. You're going in something totally new,
Yeah.
the military. You hear a lot of things about the military,
Yeah.
and, stereotypes and things about how tough it is and stuff like that. So there was a lot going through, I'm sure, in my mind and others.
Did you, I guess everybody else was kind of in the same boat though, weren't they?
Yeah, everybody was about the same boat,
Yeah.
We was some guys all over. I was in basic training with guys from Detroit, Michigan, some guys from Kentucky, some from my hometown,
Oh, really?
Glasgow, Kentucky, yes.
Okay.
Temple Hill, some of the guys I knew that was athletes at Glasgow High School, and it was a few of those guys that I knew from my hometown was on that bus.
Did you, a lot of times when I talk to people, they get to their basic training like really early in the morning or really late at night. Was it dark, or was it when you got there, or?
I remember us coming into Fort Knox, Kentucky. I think it was more like a morning arrival.
Okay.
It wasn't at nighttime.
Was it early morning?
I would say it was probably mid-morning.
Oh, really?
If I remember
Okay.
correctly.
Yeah, that's a long time
Coming into
ago.
Fort Knox, Kentucky. Coming in from Louisville, I think it was more like we got to drive to Fort Knox. It was more like day. I know it was day.
Okay.
daytime.
What was some of your first experiences when you got there? They probably weren't shaking your hand and
No,
saying,
the drill sergeants, they do a little psychological thing with you.
they get on the bus or
Yeah, they really try to start it, training you and I guess breaking you in and being real strict. I mean, with drill sergeants, they was giving out commands to do this and that, and then, they was pretty thorough in what they was doing.
yeah.
Drill sergeants, very demanding, loud voices and things to tell you what you do.
Did they get on the bus, or they as soon as you got off the bus?
As soon as you got off the bus, they met you.
Yeah,
That's where it was.
yeah. But did you kind of have somewhat of an idea what to expect a little bit, maybe?
I had some idea
Yeah.
of military life, movies and things like that, but, I had no ROTC or nothing like that
Okay.
in college.
When you got there, you got your hair cut, you got your
Oh, yeah, you go through, when you first get there, they, not immediately, but you have to go, it's a process, in process to Fort Knox. They cut your hair, issue your fatigues and things like that, your boots, caps and all that. You have to go through that processing,
Okay.
in processing.
Were you in pretty good shape then?
I was in good shape, yes.
Okay. Because you've been playing basketball.
I've been playing college ball. I was in excellent shape, and so that the physical part, the
Okay.
toughness like that, playing sports and stuff like that, I had no problem
So
with
you
that.
probably didn't have any problem running and doing
No, well, actually, when my basic training unit, I came out as one of the top trainees at Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was in good shape. I had run something like a 5-minute mile in combat boots, and I got an award out of basic training as one of the top PE trainees coming out of basic training.
Did you enjoy the physical part of it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Because you were an athlete,
I
right?
was out there. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you? You said you had a guardian mother.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Did you talk to her any when you were in basic training, or literally?
We got to leave. I got to leave to come home, and
Okay.
you could make phone calls on weekends, stuff like that. But basic training, they're really strict on you,
Yeah, you got one.
and you have to kind of walk a thin line. In basic training, you don't have a lot of privileges in basic.
Yeah.
Weekends, you allowed to maybe make a phone call, but back then you didn't make a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
You was allowed to get mail, stuff like that.
They didn't have email and text. And,
They didn't have that, so,
Yeah.
it was mainly by letter or occasional phone calls.
did any of your instructors stand out that you remember now, like by name?
Oh, yeah, senior, Sergeant Giles. I never forget Sergeant Giles. He was one of our top trainees. He was a very thorough man, very military-minded, and he treated everybody the same. He was real strict and very demanding. And, a lot of drill sergeants, they push you, but he was a respectable man, and you learn to respect those guys that I guess they was really training you really to save your life.
Yeah.
To learn and pick up as quickly as possible.
Do you think he made an example on you, or he made an influence on you than all the rest of them?
Yeah, I would say that Sergeant Giles, he was probably our head training instructor,
Okay.
and he knew military life. He knew how to train, and I guess the psychology that he used toward all of us,
Okay.
and it was doing it for our benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you finished your basic training from Fort Knox, did you have any specialized training? What was your MLS when you?
Okay. When I left out of Fort Knox, Kentucky, had orders to go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay,
I was going to artillery school
okay,
and special weapons school out there at Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
okay. And can you tell people that maybe not understand artillery, maybe what kind of weapons you're dealing with and how far you can shoot? You're not talking about 200 or 300 yards. Tell them how far that you can shoot.
Well, at Fort Sill, we trained on a 105, what they call cannons, 105, artillery cannons. We did, and special weapons. In artillery school, you go into a lot of special weapons training, like you fired on M72 Law, rocket.
Okay.
We had to specialize in handling the 50 caliber machine gun, 60 caliber machine gun. We had to do a lot of that special weapons training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma,
Okay.
which is a part of artillery training.
Okay. So, can you explain to maybe some about your artillery training? I mean, like how far was some of your targets that you were your artillery? How far are you?
I guess the 105, 155s. They shot. Who was at Fort Sill, which is a very large post. They could shoot miles. They could shoot several miles, but in the training, you're going to shoot so far anyway.
Yeah, because you're already
being on post. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there in Lawton, Oklahoma, you're not going to be shooting a long distance because you had your FDC fire direction is going to have you shooting at certain targets, not long distance as like 8-inch howitzer that we trained overseas in Korea with.
Yeah. So yeah, you've only got so far you can train on post.
On post, you limited to your target
Yeah.
and things like that, and the distance you shoot because you are on the military post.
Was it? Can you tell us about what it was like when you shot artillery? Was it? I guess you could fit on the ground and everything, right?
Well, when we trained at Fort Sill, the 105s and 155s was nothing like the 8-inch howitzer.
Okay.
There was loud noises, and sometimes we had to wear earplugs in training at Fort Sill, and that cut back on some of the noise. But the heavy artillery training after I got in Korea, after I left Fort Sill, now those were what they call big guns, a howitzer, to shoot a distance from probably 30 miles or more.
It's hard to
accurate.
That's hard to even comprehend, isn't it?
It's hard to comprehend and very loud. And when the 8-inch howitzer, if you, the noise, the percussion off of them, you could feel it. When those guns went off, it almost vibrated your whole body.
My body, your chest, and
yeah. Compression coming off, it hits your body.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Very loud.
Yeah, and I think we've talked. you have some hearing damage, correct?
After staying overseas, I stayed in Korea 14 months, and when I got rid of ETS, I had some hearing loss, and I was pulled out of the field. I had to go back into any kind of training for my last 30 days before ETS'd out, and I had some hearing loss. I failed the hearing test, and they treated me with drops and things like that and pulled me away from the guns. And I passed it. They said I passed the test. My hearing was, acceptable to be ETS'd out.
Yeah. So when you left Fort Knox, where did you say you went again?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay. From there, where did you go?
From Fort Sill, I came home I had a 27-day leave.
Okay.
I was getting ready to go overseas. So when I left Fort Sill, I came to Glasgow, then Glasgow, Kentucky for leave. When I got ready to leave, I went back to Fort Lewis, Washington.
Okay.
I think I flew out of Louisville, Chicago, into Denver, then into Fort Lewis, Portland, then into Fort Lewis, Washington, what they call transit. I reported into Fort Lewis, Washington, stayed out there for about 4 days before I got my port call overseas going to Korea.
Okay. So did you know you were going to Korea?
No, when we went into Fort Sill, we trained out there for 2 months. I think it was in the month of June after I got a basic training. And we trained out there for 2 months. And probably for the first month and a half, you had no idea where you was going.
Okay.
Until about the last 2 weeks of training is when we got our orders. They called formation. They called us all out. And that's when they called your name and they told you where you was going, your next duty station.
Okay, so when they told you were going to...
When they called my name out, they said Republic of Korea. I was pretty relieved.
Yeah, because I guess you thought maybe you were saying...
Go for Vietnam.
Yeah.
When some of the guys at Fort Sill I trained, some did go to Vietnam. I think we had a few went to Germany, and the rest of them in my unit at Fort Sill, we was like a group shipment. We was going to the Republic of South Korea.
Okay. So up until then, what was the farthest you've been away from home?
The furthest I've been away from home, I guess, when I was in college, when I was at Hiawassee College, Tennessee. We played in the National Junior College Tournament in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Okay, so you've been...
That's probably the furthest distance I've been away from Glasgow, Kentucky, was when I was at Madisonville, Tennessee, at Hiawassee. I traveled to Hutchinson, Kansas, where we played in the National Junior College Tournament.
So you go from Kansas to Korea, right?
Yeah.
Were you kind of a little excited about maybe going somewhere different?
Well, yeah, there was some excitement, adventurous, and I took it as a learning experience. Yeah, seeing the world.
Yeah, that's one thing about the military is a lot of times you get to go places you wouldn't normally go.
Yeah. So that was the exciting part of it. Going in parts of the United States and in foreign countries. Japan. I was at Yokota Air Force Base outside of Tokyo, Japan.
Okay.
We came in there and we stopped and spent about 4 hours there before we went into Kimpo International in Seoul, Korea.
So a lot of these places that people go in the military, other people that are civilians, they have to pay thousands of dollars to go there.
Yeah, if you was taking a vacation to Seoul, Korea, it probably cost you thousands of dollars to fly over there and spend 3 or 4 days, a week or whatever. It'd be very expensive.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to fly to Korea?
Oh, man. Overall, I guess it was probably 8 hours, probably all day.
Really?
It was a long flight. We flew into Japan, then we took out and we reboarded and flew back across. So, crossing the Pacific, you cross to what you call the international date line.
Okay, so you go back a day or lose a day, or how does that work?
I think you lose a day. It always kind of bothered me. I think you lose a day going, or gain a day coming back. I really don't know how that panned out. I think we made lose a day going and gain a day coming back, something like that.
So how long did it take you to get there on the plane?
Hey, we flew for about 8 hours or longer in the air across the Pacific. It's a long ride.
So that's kind of tedious, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you a little nervous. We wasn't that nervous going over, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But coming home,
you want to get home.
You want to get home, so it's I think it's a different mindset when you're coming home. You've been away for.
You will hurry up and get.
Yeah, you excited. You're more excited about, I guess, more coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot going through your mind, and you want to get back to the United States. Yeah.
What was the weather when you got there to Korea?
Well, we went over during the monsoon season.
Okay.
When I got to Korea, I think it was maybe July. It was right at maybe at the end of monsoon.
Okay.
You know, August anyway. It was we experienced some of the monsoon when we got in Korea. It rained a lot, and you know, it was kind of humid. You know, that's how Korea was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you were there, like 14 months, so you got to have the cold part too.
Oh yeah, we got to go. Oh man, I spent 9 months on the DMZ. That's called the 38th parallel.
Okay.
And it was up called Wijanbu. Kugani, I was up in that area. Moonsani, we was up on the DMZ 38th parallel. I spent
Okay.
9 months up there.
So
Spent a winter up there.
So of course you were on South Korean side.
South Korean
Yeah.
side. There you go. Yeah.
Can you tell us what that's about? I've had a couple people. It's just say it's very very kind of scary and
It
kinda-
is. Being on the DMZ, probably nighttime gets a little tedious, I guess, and you know, you're always aware of you close to enemy territory.
people that hate you.
Yeah, people that you know that dislike you. They have what they call communist aggression, where the North Koreans are always making advancements. And what we experienced up there with the 1st and 17th Artillery was at nighttime, if you were pulling patrol, guard duty, the North Koreans would talk. They talk to you, probably started talking to you probably around 2 o'clock in the morning.
Like on a loudspeaker, or
Yeah, some sort of big loudspeaker.
Okay.
You know, they
were
had
they
to amplify.
Were they speaking English or Korean?
They was in Korean.
Oh, okay.
They were speaking Korean. Propaganda, you know, they was
Okay.
cutting the U.S. soldiers down. A lot of propaganda, speaking to the people, and you know, and they was you know, really saying negative things about us being in the country, and you know, incidents that go on in the country. They just kind of magnify that, and you know, try to you know, make us look bad or make the U.S. Army look bad for being there.
Did you ever see any of the soldiers on the North Korean side?
I never did get really up there toward Liberty Bridge as far as seeing, actually looking over at North Korea. I wasn't that far north,
Okay.
but you know, they talked to us. And like I say, I also served in security. I was in security for 5 months before I come out. And I remember the incident where the North Koreans had dropped propaganda pamphlets out of the air. They would go up in planes and
Okay.
drop propaganda pamphlets that would blow over into South Korea. And one day I was on duty, I was in security, and pamphlets started falling out of the air. It was from the North Koreans.
So was it in English or was it in Korean?
It was more in Korean. And I had a Korean guard with me.
You asked him what it said.
And he was like an interpreter for us. That we worked side by side. And we picked these pamphlets up. We had to pick them up and turn them into CQ.
Okay.
And I asked him about what some things was propaganda. It's all negative toward the
Okay.
Army, you know, U.S. Army.
Okay. Because they're trying to, I guess they're trying to make the people in South Korea, you know, the United States is evil. And it shouldn't
Evil,
be
they're
here.
there. They, you know,
They hate you.
misusing your country,
Yeah.
abusing the people.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
It's kind of,
Anything negative, they
yeah.
could put, yeah.
That's kind of like still going on today.
Still
right?
go on today.
Yeah.
All that still goes on today.
What did you on your free time? What did you do when you were there?
Well, free time, what we, like, on our compound, I was in Sea Battery, and we had a movie theater there. It wasn't a very large movie theater, but we could go and watch a movie. We had an NCO club. You could listen to music. They had you know, like a bar there. They had slot machines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had that. You know, sometimes we would play cards, you know, play spades, you know, on the compound. We listen to music, like we was in Quonset huts
Okay.
on DMZ for my first 9 months. We was in those Quonset huts, and we listened to music and things like that. Some of the guys, and so we play cards.
Did you get to play any basketball?
Yeah, we played, like I say, we shot basketball. We could go to headquarters. We could shoot basketball. And what they call R&R. They have an R&R.
Okay.
R&R day.
Did you get rusty from playing college a little bit, or can you still pretty good? Or
I still had my game, and that's how I got. I guess I got selected to play on the I-Corps team.
Okay.
I played on the I-Corps company level team
Okay.
in South Korea, and I guess that's how I got drafted on that team, because some guys were watching us play basketball, R&R, and some guys talked to me about trying out for the team.
Okay.
So I tried out and I made the team.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
still got to play a little
Still
basketball.
got to play some ball when I was there. And,
That's good.
and fast pitch softball.
Okay.
Yeah, so there were some activities, that was presented to me.
What was I like to ask people, say from in the morning to when you went to bed, what was like your average day when you were in duty in Korea? Or is there such a thing?
Yeah, like a duty day in Korea, you would get up for formation, early formation. You'd have breakfast in the mess hall. You would have formations to make sure that the body counts was there.
What time did your day usually start?
It was usually up. We was up early, probably 5:30 to 6.
Okay.
Shower, get dressed, breakfast, formation, duty assignments. Then when you would go to, like, in heavy artillery, you had what they call your equipment, your guns. You would be assigned to a gun. We had 4 guns on our battery, and you would go into your battery, your gun battery, go in, and you had a equipment that you was responsible for learning. You was getting educated about the gun, maintenance on the gun,
Okay.
things like that. That's what you had to do.
Okay. So what time did your day usually end?
Day would usually end probably around about 4:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
We'd have another formation. Our first sergeant, he would give instructions about during the day and what would be going on after hours. You was told if you had duty, if you had guard duty, the guard duty roster was presented, and things like this. You had maybe a special assignment, an educational class. You had to do that. If not, you was off.
Yeah.
You was off.
So when you were talking about going to guard duty, you probably didn't show up 15, 20 minutes late, did you?
No, you was in the military.
Yeah.
You're always going to be on time, because they're going to have you there probably 30 minutes, 20 minutes before it's stand. One thing about the Army, you stand and wait, but you're always going to be on time, never late.
And if you're late, you're probably punished pretty.
Oh yeah, you had to account for that.
That's kind of my pet
Yeah.
peeve, just people being late all the time. So,
If you was late, you probably put on detail.
yeah.
You put on some kind of detail. They had details for you to do. You better believe and a lot of those sergeants, they'll have something for you to do. KP duty, on the compound, doing something, construction or whatever. You're gonna be doing something.
Yeah. So do you think because you were early today, you were, do you think that's still, does that stay with you your whole life?
That stays with you. It bothers me now when I'm late, and it helps you to organize yourself when you get up. your time schedule.
You
like
plan,
you plan your,
yeah. Seems like,
organize yourself.
it seems like when people are late, they usually don't plan things, they just do stuff.
Yeah. But in the military, you definitely going to be organized. From the time you get up, you would be precisely what you're going to be doing each hour. This, formation, mess hall. Are you going to a meeting? Are you going to training? Mess hall, and then
Was your day, was it pretty? I mean, it wasn't like Christmas Day or anything, but you probably enjoyed your day fairly well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, you meet some of the guys on the compounds. You friendship, camaraderie with other guys. You meet guys, and it's a process where you meet new people, and a lot of fun guys. To be around, and
Did everybody pretty respectful of each other?
everybody pretty respectful. Because in the military you don't want to get in trouble. It's in your mind that you want to go through a day and not to be in any trouble. Just do what you're told to do. Be there on time. Do what you're told to do, and you have to follow your orders, because there are consequences.
Yeah.
And the consequences is you may be taken away from privileges. You may not be able to get a pass. Maybe put on a detail. So good conduct pays.
Yeah, that's good. I like
Yeah.
that. So when you left, so you said you were in Korea for 14 months.
14 months.
Well, what did you leave when you left Korea? Where did you go then?
When I left Korea, ETS out of South Korea, I went back, came back to the United States the same way. We stopped in Japan,
Okay.
and there was kind of like a refueling station. We stopped in Japan, and then we left Japan and came back into Fort Lewis, Washington.
Okay.
That's where I ETS'd out.
Was it-
Fort Lewis, Washington.
How did you feel when you got
Tacoma,
back to the
Washington.
United States?
Well, probably one of the proudest, happiest times in my life to be back in the United States. Yes,
Yeah, it makes you, because Thursday is Thanksgiving. Were you pretty thankful?
pretty thankful.
Yeah.
Now, when you leave this country and come back home alive, you're pretty thankful to come back to the United States of America.
And they probably, people in South Korea, they had it a whole lot better than North Korea, but they still probably didn't have it as well as they do in the United States, or is that true?
No. In South Korea, especially in the northern area, and, Seoul, Korea is a large city.
Yeah.
Probably 20. I guess Seoul, Korea was probably 16 million people back then, and probably bigger, larger city now. Very huge city,
Yeah.
Seoul, Korea. And but up on the DMZ, you dealing more with village people,
Yeah.
and you see a lot of poverty.
Yeah.
People, some of the native people there, they live in huts, huts and the dwellings, and you see a lot of people, they walk into children, they always, a lot of times when you go into a village, a common approach daily with children, asking you for money and stuff like that. So
So
a lot of
probably,
poverty.
probably they're, what we consider poor people here is probably, they would be very well off in Korea, especially North Korea. They would
If making a comparison, you take people where up on the DMZ to a village where the people lived, where they lived in sort of like huts, and you compare, say, the housing projects in the United States of America to them, that would be a very, very well off dwelling place,
Yeah.
compared to a hut.
Yeah. Or it'd be like saying that,
Yeah.
and someone here in the United States said, well, our television is not very nice, and it's a, what do you mean television?
Television.
Yeah.
Without TV.
Yeah.
They may have a radio or something like that, or,
Yeah.
portable radio. or
In
something.
Korea, in North Korea was even worse, right? They was
The North Korean people, similar situations, the village people,
Yeah.
they, it's a lot of poverty,
Yeah.
A lot of poverty there.
Well, when you go back to the United States, what did you do after you got out of the military?
When I got out of the military, I did have a job.
Okay.
Western Kentucky Gas.
Okay. You still had your.
I still have my job because
They couldn't fire you.
they couldn't fire me. So I was working for Western Kentucky Gas in Glasgow. So I came back to Glasgow, and I worked for Western Kentucky Gas for a while, and made some money and things like that, and got myself situated, and saved up a little money, and it's always been my dream. I want to go back to school.
Okay.
And I worked in Glasgow for a while, and then I think it was in 1971, I went to Campbellsville College.
Okay.
Went to Campbellsville College and continued my education on the GI Bill. Back then they had the GI Bill was in place.
Yeah, the GI Bill really helps a lot of people.
It helps. But see, back when I used my GI Bill, Campbellsville College was private school, and the tuition was pretty high, but it helped. The GI Bill helped, but it didn't cover all, because I think that the stipend back in wasn't as high it is now.
Okay.
You didn't get very much back in the 70s. It's like they're getting what they get today.
So you got your bachelor's? Did you get your bachelor's?
Yeah, I got my associates.
Okay.
In business college after I left Campbellsville College.
Okay.
I went to Campbellsville College, and it got to the point where it's like being able to afford to go there. My GI Bill wasn't covering some of the expenses. So what I did, I came to Bowling Green, and I entered business college.
Okay.
On my GI Bill. More affordable going to Bowling Green Business College, and that's where I finished up and got an associate's degree in business.
Okay. Okay. How did you use that when you got out of college?
I had a job.
Okay.
When I came to Bowling Green, I had a job. Got a job working at Cutler Hammer, which was a good job back then.
What year is this?
This is around 1974.
Okay.
74, 75, because I was going to business school from 75 to 77. So therefore, in those years there, I was living in Bowling Green. And so I had a job.
Okay.
I was working at Cutler Hammer and going to school, at night school.
Okay.
So it helped me out.
Do you think any of your military experience helped you out in your job, or maybe yes, no, or a little bit, or?
I would say a little bit. From the discipline side of it,
Okay. Being on time.
being on time, at work, doing what you're supposed to do, and things like that. Following orders, associating with people.
Okay.
Military is, I think, is a great tool for being around different people.
Yeah.
Being able to, to get along.
Get along with people.
Get along with people.
Yeah, 'cause
so
you
that's always a good skill
Yeah,
to
'cause
have.
you couldn't just have fist fights in the army. Just get.
No.
Yeah.
If a drill sergeant come to you, if he comes to you kind of roughly, what he wants you to do, that's what he wants you to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No mouth, just do what he says to do.
So they put you kind of ahead of the game when you were in the job field.
Oh yeah, and playing sports too.
Yeah.
Being constructive. That helped out.
So in closing, this interview, if you can take the floor and say anything, what would you say about the military? How has it influenced you, and how do you feel about maybe when you see things in the news about maybe someone going to war, or country, or the flag, or how do you feel about things? How does it?
Now that my experience with the military and seeing a young man now, I always look at the positives of things. I think it's a great honor now to serve your country. I think it's a patriotic thing to do. I feel that to serve your country, to serve it well. Back then it was drafted, but even if you volunteer now, I think the Army is excellent. for developing your skills, people skills, educational skills. I think it's seeing the world.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a great education within itself.
Okay.
Being able to travel,
Yes.
being adventurous, seeing the military presented me seeing some things that if I probably normal life, I never would have saw the experiences, places. None of that would be.
You wouldn't ever went to Korea, would you?
I wouldn't. And anywhere I've been in Seoul, Korea, Fort Lewis, Washington, Oklahoma,
Or Japan.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, So I overall I look at that as a great education for me. It helped broaden my mind, perspective on life, and appreciation for the United States of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you leave the country and then come back, you definitely gonna appreciate something that you miss.
Yeah. I guess sometimes you take things for granted.
You take things for granted. You take people here that they think they have it rough.
Yeah.
But if you go into Uijeonbu, South Korea, stay there for a while, you see, not on vacation, just live there,
Yeah.
and then come back, you appreciate the United States of America.
I usually ask this to everybody I interview, like when you see the flag, does that make you, you think that makes you look at the flag different? I mean, some people might just say, oh, it's just a flag, but does it make you feel different when you see the flag?
It makes me feel different when I see the flag because it has more meaning to me, especially serving in the military under the flag. The respect for it, because in the military, you get up to the flag, and then when you lay down at night, you lay down to the flag. And then serving in the military, you definitely serve what we call the stars and stripes, I call it.
Yeah.
Red, white, and blue. It has more meaning, especially when you wear it on your chest.
Yeah. So you think that makes a
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
A big
When
difference.
you're military.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your interview, and I've enjoyed talking to you, and I want to thank you for your service, and I've been looking forward to talking to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, and you've done an excellent job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Good talking to you.
Good talking to you.